Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and it is my pleasure to bring you all the action starting on grand final week for SRW. Football codes from right around Australia are deep into the celebrations of the best and brightest of their seasons, and time for Sim Racing World to do its celebration all of its own. My name behind the scenes is Scotty Rattlegun Rankin once again. In public, you can just call me Greg the Third. As I continue to go endurance racing with the Gregs over the course of the weekend. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys are sitting back, settling yourselves in and getting ready because this, like I said, is grand finale week. We have all of our series getting tight and twisty towards the top end of the turbulent table of totality. Yeah, I don't know where I was going there, but we got somewhere in the end. Yep, points tables right across the SRW series are incredibly tight at the top, and the trucks is no different. Tonight we bring you to what is known as the Legacy Track. Only just, this was the preferred configuration of Atlanta up until all of about a couple months ago, at which point they loaded the repaved version, which went into service in real life at the start of this year as well. So iRacing managed to keep up with the times for their American tracks, and tonight we'll pay homage to what has been a phenomenal home of Atlantean motorsport up until now, and now it's a little bit faster. It is going to be 75 laps to take you the distance in your DSL Welding Services NASTRUCKS series, proudly brought to you by Warren & Brown, Pagnian Imports, Melville Equipment Corporation, Toyo Sim, Promo Department, and Dragon RC. And qualifying getting underway for the boys down at the boat ramp. They will be chilling out in the background and having a grand old time as they wheel Scalzi on. Runners in the championship standings in the late portions of the season. That, like I said, has tidied itself up and got incredibly competitive at the top end of the table. Blake Delaney, I believe, was leading the way at one point and continues to do so here tonight. He has a 10-point buffer back to Mr. Tomlin and a 6-point buffer back to Jared Steen. Jared Steen, remember, has continued his resurgence right the way throughout the series with a win 2 weeks ago at the Super Speedway of Talladega. Just about everyone's out on their qualifying at this point in time. Camera will focus in on Matty Keane. What a run he's been having in the DSL Welding Services V8 Supercars on your Sunday night. Unfortunately, strategy. He went to play a little bit of strategy chicken one day early in the week. Played it on V8 Supercar night. Didn't fall out the way that he really wanted it to. And he will be doing his utmost to make it fall the way that he wants to here tonight. Setup is a little bit tricky for these guys. Car not as settled and stable in the rear end, so it's going to be a matter of managing rear tyre instead of front tyre. But that is where the talent resides. If you can manage your rear tyres, you give a driver a car that drives on the rear tyres more so than its front tyres, and you've got a driver who can manage the run. This will come down to skill. There are ways to tighten the setup up in a few different driving tweaks, and there are ways to loosen it off even further. One of those will be spinning rear tyres. You saw Matty Sculls grab the wool as well. Quad oval here at Atlanta, and that means 2 kinks in the front stretch, similar to the Charlotte Oval from last season. And he will grab the outside barrier on the way through the second kink. On the screen is Jared Steen once again. I think this will be the second of his laps, looking to build up momentum. Matty Keane's jumped to the top of the leaderboard. Jamie Dyke only good enough for P3. Aiden Schultz has gone to P6. I'm wondering whether or not that's a warm-up lap. He's still coming up to pace. He is still out there on the track. Steen will get to 5th. Schultz coming off of turn 4 into the line, maintaining the lower line. Will he get there at the flag? Does improve his time, but only to P6 and only just barely by 1,000th of a second out of Jared Steen. Evan Horswell in the late running is going to jump up to P10. There will be, looks to be 18, 19 cars that will be taking to the racing surface to celebrate the end of the championship series. Oh, Matty Keane will be ecstatic with that. He's been putting the homework in on the NASCAR Truck Series. He was actually incredibly disappointed he didn't get to run the Bristol 500 from the iRacing service over the weekend. Unfortunately, His partner actually ended up in a car crash just prior to the sign-up phase of that one. He had to quickly race off and go pick everything up. If you're listening out there, Keeney and the SLM boys, hope that everything went all good at the end of cleaning up after the accident. Robbie Griffiths is going to start setting his lap times. That's his first lap, so he'll get another crack here at this one. Hayden Norris has managed to jump into the 31-2s where the bulk of the field will situate themselves. Now on the run down the backstretch. Was a quick sector 3 and 4, actually, from Robbie Griffiths on that last lap. Was the fastest of anyone so far in the session. He will look to try and continue that. Comes off of turn 4, and the run to the flag will improve on the time. Does, but only by half a tenth or so. Won't improve his placing. And that is just about going to be all she wrote. 10 seconds left. I don't think anyone else is out there completing their qualifying laps at the moment. It's only Alan Dawson yet to set a time in the session. And he will fail to do so. So we are set now for the start of what is our final round of the season. Apologies for not having a co-commentator with me up here in the booth here tonight, and that is because, unfortunately, the Shibster and the final podcast of the season has gotten a little bit sick and unable to communicate, which second time this season, second time in 9 weeks. So Shibby's listening behind the camera, and he will be monitoring the chats as well. So if you have any words of encouragement for Shibby for at least turning up to help with the broadcasting. Hope you're doing well back there, Shibster. He's not saying anything, but I know that he's sitting back and just relaxing a little bit at the moment. Right, so missing our pole position off the chart at this point in time, but it will be Matty Keane who is going to take out his first pole position of the season with a 31.182. Off alongside of him is Matty Scholes in the first of the right sim racing machines. Jamie Dyke will be directly in line behind Matty Keane, and only 32 thousandths of a second from the pole. Glenn McLeod will line up alongside of him. Blake Delaney, your championship leader, championship potentially elect. He's got to just have a quick one here tonight, a reasonable one, and settle himself down on in, and we'll see how he goes. Aiden Schultz will line up to his outside. Peter Morris will complete all 3 of the fishy cars so far on that inside lane. And Jared Steen will line up on his outside. Hayden Norris of the second of the right sim racing machines off alongside Robbie Griffiths, the only fishy racing car not to be in that queue on the inside lane, needed to qualify 1 position further up, and it would have been 4 cars in a row on the inside lane for Fishy Motorsports. Nathan Allen in P11, Darren Palmer, Evan Horswell, Greg Leake, James Rice, Peter Gretton, Michael Locke, Chris Tomlin, Greg Barber and Tyson McAvoy are going to be your race controllers for this evening, and Alan Dawson in P20th will be the last car on the grid. And that, ladies and gents, is how they form themselves up. As we get set to go green for the final time this season. For the first time tonight, the final race of the year. NASCAR trucks will be returning again next season. So if you're interested in getting involved in what is a more entry-level style league, you've thought about oval racing, you're not really sure what it's all about, why people want to go turning left. Then SRW's NASCAR Truck Series on Monday night will be the place to join and find out. Season already listed in the Discord. On their way down the back stretch, Matty Keane will take the pole. Field will be in Matty Keane's hands. to green for the first time tonight. King gets a great launch and will immediately settle in. 3 sets of tyres to last the duration. When will the first caution happen? Will we go NASCAR overtime to finish the season off? And they will settle themselves in down the back straight for the first time tonight. Glenn McLeod's had a reasonable start. He slotted himself up into P2 nicely. Gotten by Matty Skulls in the early running there. What's happened to Skullsy? Skullsy didn't grid. So something has happened to Matty Skulls. No, Matty Skulls did not grid, started from the pit lane, or something has happened on that first lap. He has dropped all the way down to last position running on the lead lap. So something did happen to Matty Skulls, and he is going to pay the price for it. Settles himself in now, the field will. Skullsy will have no drafting support through the early phase of this one, but he will be sitting out there saving tyre out on his own. I didn't see anything happen, so I can only assume he's not far enough back to I would have thought start from pit lane, but there you go. Such is life. Pete Gretton settling himself into that middle pack. He's got Alan Dawson immediately ahead of him. Dawson already up a few places starting from the rear. So he'll be chasing down that right sim racing truck. And Dawson will start to set his eyes on Evan Horswell a few places up ahead of him. Back up at the front end of the field. Matty King's managed to open up a second margin or so at the moment. He's trying to set himself completely and utterly free. That's the view from Aiden Schultz, who's grabbed a whole bunch of spots on the opening lap now and settled himself into P2. Right, Keaton is setting sail in the early running here. You'll have to be a little bit careful that he doesn't overdo it on the tyres. Atlanta is a tyre burner. One of the older surfaces when it was finally repaved here earlier this year. And older surfaces tend to really wear those tyres. High banking surface as well for the 1.5 mile quad oval speedway. Continuing on down the back. Have a look at Greg Leake, who'll be in Evan Horswell's sights. He's locked himself right up in beneath Darren Palmer as well. Palmer will take the inside lane. Leakey's going to grab that apron just slightly and he gets away with it. Now Horswell's going to get a run. And he'll try and cross to the inside. Leakey's going to try and settle it back in. He'll do so on the way down into turn 1. Check out that Fishy Motorsports train, though. They've all managed to queue up just about. Who's the Jared Steen is in a double fish sandwich. 2 in front, 2 behind. And if that Sipometer on the rear bumper of Peter's car didn't make it stand out, the colouring of it over the last few weeks certainly has. Big shout out to the Sipometer there tonight. Is that Peter Morris that got a podium? Peter Morris got a podium, so I'm being told. Congratulations, Pete. So that was one of his first podiums, so he has been improving consistently. So it's been good to hear that the results been coming his way. Leakey will try and slot back down in behind Evan Horswell. So this second pack now dropped a fair way back off the leaders. The margin for Matty Keen's hovered around that full second out in front, remembering he is pulling the field along. But it's important that these guys all sort of sort themselves out and run single file. Horswell's going to try and keep up the momentum in their second pack. And now they're starting to split up from the lead a little bit as Jared Steen is going to get caught by Robbie Griffiths. He's starting to transition to that high side in turn 1 and 2. All 3 lanes are open to the drivers. Generally around this track, as you can see, denoted by the 3 separate seams as well on the racing surface. 3 and 4, the top side, you won't see a huge deal of people up there, but certainly the middle and bottom are very, they both work for different reasons, and drivers will need to be able to leverage both lanes To be able to get their car into the barrier was Darren Parmenter on the front stretch. And he will start to drop through the field quite quickly. Trying to get down the inside is Jared Rice on Greg Leake. Leake will keep the momentum, slot back in. And if they can work together potentially at this opening stage by staying single-filed out, they'll go a fair bit faster and present opportunities to catch that front pack. The front pack's starting to split itself up just a little bit, and I can tell you what, Aiden Schultz is starting to home back in on Matty King. Glenn McLeod and Jamie Dyke going with him. Delaney and Steen starting to fall a little bit back off of their rear bumper, and Steen's still hanging on to it over Robbie Griffiths, but check that gap closing in behind them. Christopher Tomlin and Aidan Norris are starting to come back at Peter Morris. Fan question for tonight: is M or N a better name to start, a better letter to start your last name with? As Aidan and Peter will try and sort that one out for us tonight. Battle for the lead is going to start building here in just a few moments as Aiden Schultz has run down Matty Keane. Here comes the run as well. That was for Aidan Norris. That'll try to get to the inside of Peter Morris and try and get that move done. And move done for Aiden Schultz. It'll be up to Keeney how he responds here. Does he settle those tyres down, go into maximum conservation mode and let Aiden pull himself along? Glenn McLeod's starting to really close in on these guys as well. Matty will try and get all the way to the bottom of the surface in turn 1 and 2. And then slot back up into that draft lane. And this is potentially going to open an opportunity for Glenn McLeod as well, so he's going to be a little bit careful with how he's running this one now. Matty Keane tries to open the corner up as much as possible. High lanes will maintain more momentum, but it's a longer way around the racetrack. So generally out of 1 and 2, the high lane will be stronger, but the tri-oval on the front, or the quad-oval, sorry, on the front stretch, the low lane coming up in turn 3 and 4 is quite good. Gives you the defensive line. Yeah, Keane is struggling. McLeod's going to get underneath him immediately now. So Glenn McLeod's going to go into P number 2 now. Steal that one away. And I'm wondering whether or not Glenn McLeod is just shadowing what Aiden Schultz is doing. Matty Keane will get a huge run and will get the response, get to his inside on the front stretch. Through the quad oval. 15 laps already in the books, by the way. Fuel limit for tonight set at 60%. Or 55%. I was cruel to them on the service setup. Now the Fishy Motorsports guys starting to get quite racy with Jared Steen. Blake Delaney's come back to them quite aggressively. So this is actually Steen responding. Jamie Dyke still caught up in that lead pack, and Blake Delaney's being fought for control of this second pack. Whether or not Delaney's looking to save and make that third race distance. We might see the driver start to pit about lap 25. If it's going to be a guaranteed two-stopper, sign, seal, and deliver it. Matty Keane might opt to come 1 lap earlier if he's just that little bit short in terms of that tyre condition. Talking about tyre condition, Matty Keane's first lap of the race, the fastest lap 31.299, so just below the 31.3s. His current lap, his most recent lap, is into the 33s. So they've already lost 1.5 seconds off of their maximum pace out of these tyres. Cars ahead of him, 33.127. Matty Keane and Glenn McLeod, identical lap times that time by. Aiden Schultz still just barely hanging on to the 32s in terms of the lap time. Dyke very minorly starting to fall back from these guys. And Jared Steen has managed to clear Blake Delaney and move his way up into P number 5 as well. Down the inside now. There's Alan Dawson on Evan Horswell. He'll try and get that one done. Pete Morris has dropped a fair way back. So either his tyres are done and gone or he's caught the barrier at some point. But back up into this lead pack, and Aiden Norris now trying to get around Jared Steen, and this will complicate matters for Steenie, who's trying to take on the Fishy Boys on his own. It might be a 2v2 battle would be the way to go potentially for Aiden. He's trying to build that momentum on the high side. Sees that as the preferred line to run. Steen will come up off the bottom in the middle of the corner. Marks back down again. And those lap times starting or continuing to fall off now as Jamie Dyke will start to close back in. 33-1 for Schultz, 33-3, 3 and 3 for McLeod, Keane and Dyke. Delaney will throw a 33-6 into the mix. Aiden Norris just about fastest behind these guys at 33-5, so he's starting to come back through the field. And this is critical for Aiden. If he wants to get his race underway on the right foot, so he's going to have to go after it. Critically as well, Matty Keane led a lot of those early laps, so if somebody was looking to fuel and tyre save all at the same time, Matty Keane would have been pulling a huge hole in the air for those guys. He's dropped Jamie Dyke now. Dyke had a poor lap. Dropped 2/10 to him. So he's just about to drop out of the tow. And this battle will continue for Aiden Norris. Cannot quite clear Jared Steen. 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th on track at the moment. P9 is Christopher Tomlin, who's trying to track these guys down. But when you're running in a pack of 4... very hard to track those guys down unless somebody's burned off their tyre conditioning. Tomlin has dropped a 10th through turn 3 and 4. Nathan Allen's trying to go with Christopher Tomlin. Christopher Tomlin was right up there and leading the championship just about at one point in the season. And that's basically been the tale of the season, is everyone's jumped out at some stage, had a great finish or a great couple of finishes that put together, and then trickled back through the field. And unfortunately, Christopher Tomlin... Oh, sorry, my apologies. Christopher Tomlin's in P2 in the championship. He's having a great run. His season didn't get off on the right foot. Everyone in the field has had off weeks. There's not been a single car that has not been affected by incidents. And now the fishy... X-Right boys will try and steal that one off, and Steen says, I've got to get back into this draft pack. And an aggressive block gets thrown, which will shut down the run from Robbie Griffiths. That means Steen mean business. And Christopher Tomlin will say thank you, because that's brought him back into the argument. Steen cannot afford to let Blake Delaney get away from him. Has to outscore Blake Delaney by 11 points to take the championship tonight. Sorry, it's even more than that, because Steen is 16 back, so it's 17 points from Steen to Delaney for Steen to take it, and 6 points over Christopher Tomlin. Christopher Tomlin only needs 11. So Christopher Tomlin, if anyone's going to win it, Christopher Tomlin's got the best chance of the field. My word, 25 laps about to come up on us. I can tell you right now, 33.7 for Matty Keane. So he has lost 2.5 seconds over 25 laps out of his lap pace. He will be screaming for a new set of tyres. 3 extra sets of tyres tonight. And it is going to be Matty Keane that triggers the first round of green flag stops. Recognises it's a 2-stop race. Short pits these guys. On his outlap, he has got to make up 2 seconds and potentially get back to the point. And then he can start to control the pack. This will trigger an entire huge grouping of cars coming to pit lane. Of that, you can be sure. It'll be interesting to see if Schultz and McLeod will pit this time by. Keep your eyes on this pack right here. Steen might be pitting. Steen might have a crack. Our leader, first 3 cars are continuing on. P19's just come into the pits. Darren Parmiter's already, I think, made his first stop. No, he hasn't. Greg Leake is the car that's pitting. Matty Skulls started from pit lane. So only 2 cars into the lane thus far. Third car into the lane is Darren Parmiter now. So he will come down. I think that margin between Schultz and McLeod is slowing. Yep, they're both pitting. So race lead will be taken over by Jamie Dyke, and it's green flag stop time, and Steen has missed the lane. Steen cuts through the grass on the front stretch. He will try and get that truck back up to speed, but I'm pretty sure he missed the lane. He will bring it onto pit lane. He might not have had a choice. If he's out of fuel, he won't have had a choice. So he'll slide it in. So McLeod, Schultz, Allen, and Rice all in the lane. Michael Locke now in the lane as well. Jamie Dyke will continue on for another lap. Blake Delaney continues on as well. Hayden Norris continues on. Robbie Griffiths. Just about the remainder of the field is coming to pit lane this time by. So 3 fishy cars. And Alan Dawson will continue on. How long will these boys run? How long are they going to stick it out there? The undercut is super powerful. And you can see Schultz has gone through. So he will race and I believe earn his lap back. And the fishy guys pit now. So Dyke, Delaney, Griffiths and Dawson, the entire field now serving their drive through pit lane. Aiden Schultz has maintained the lead of this one. Glenn McLeod has not had a great trip through pit lane, so it will be Matty Keane who will reassume P number 2. And with the first round of green flag stops, that guarantees that they'll be in for another one, and Schultz is in the wall! Schultz has just scraped the outside barrier! Whilst leading the race, and that has opened the door for Matty Keane. So he will have to deal with truck damage to the right-hand side of his truck this entire run. Parmenter it was that was just rejoining the track on the bottom there, coming off of pit lane. So that looks like a penalty for Darren Parmenter, unfortunately. Evan Horswell, Peter Gretton still both on pit lane, coming out of the lane now. Jared Steen will go by them, and Steen did get a penalty. Either a penalty or a spin, one of the two. And Pete Morris has had to come back to pit lane as well. Something has now happened to Evan Horswell as well in yellow. First of the night, still one caution to go, still one pit stop to go, minimum. Cannot make it home from here. And I cannot tell you whether or not Aiden Schultz wanted to see that. So attempting to rejoin the track from the pit lane. Gets the car loose on the above that seam on the pit lane exit is banked. Below it is flat and quite bumpy. And I believe Evan was straddling the banked surface and the flat surface as well, which would have contributed there. So this will trigger a whole bunch of strategy chicken. Drivers pit 4 laps ago. Cannot make it to the end from here, but we'll have a shorter run and we'll have fresher tyres. Remember, tyre condition fell off by 2.5 seconds over a 25 lap run. So 4 lap fresher tyres is an important number to remember. They had 3 sets of tyres, how they used them here tonight. We're only going to use 2. Is this a time where you burn off an extra set of tyres? Or do you play for track position? They might want to bank it up. Aiden Schultz is coming to the lane with damage. I don't blame him. Matty Keane will follow. Glenn McLeod will take the banking of tyres. Greg Leake, I would say, will be your lucky dog and get his lap back. Blake Delaney, Nathan Allen, Robert Griffiths, Chris Tomlin, Jamie Dyke, all staying out. Jared Rice, Darren Parmenter. And then Greg Leake, your first car 1 lap down. Pete Gretton. Jared Steen, Pete Gretton, Matty Skulls, Peter Morris, Michael Locke, and Evan Horse will all be trapped at least a lap down by most of the field electing to stay out there. And this sets us up into a curious case of strategy chicken. Oh no, Pete Morris's car wouldn't take fuel. Skulls, he's going to be tired already. Been working overtime and not getting much sleep lately. 6 days a week at the boat ramp isn't for the weak. Big shout out to the Right Sim Racing crew who continue to support us. We gave one fan group a nickname last night. Might be time for another one with the Right Rev Heads. So we will come up on the halfway mark and the grid will form themselves back up here, I think at the end of this next lap. We'll go green once more. lapped cars being waved to the end of the field at this point in time. Drivers who have come down and taken a stop is Alan Dawson. Greg Leake would also be recommended to take a stop at this point in time. If the pit lane's open, of course. Because he will, being the lucky dog, you also nets yourself a rear of field penalty. So you may as well come down and grab a fresh set of tyres whilst you do that. 10 laps on his tyres or so. To the fans watching along at home, what have your thoughts on the season been thus far? Season number 2 for the NASCAR trucks, and they will be returning for season number 3. It's been one of the most popular categories this season. So for a league of left and right turners, we seem to have done all right. So one more lap here under the safety car. They will form themselves up, and then we'll get back to green flag racing. Do you reckon Leaky would mind the nickname Cheeky Leaky? I don't think he'd be too bad with that one. I think he'd enjoy it. If we get another caution, we'll call him into the booth again. He's always good for in-race intel. Well, the fans at home, who would you guys like to see us try and chat to in the middle of a race? You know what? We'll grab Nathan Allen, I think, instead. That'll really rattle his cage and upset him a little bit. It's not even on Discord. That's unusual for Nathan Allen. Righto, drivers will reset themselves for a restart, this time off of turn 3 and 4. 19th place is Evan Horswell. He is in the pit. Matty Skulls is at 2 laps down. So definitely feeling drained after a long week working hard at the boat ramp. Interesting to note for the cars at the rear end of the field as we go back green. They've got to look after their tyres. So keep your eyes on Aidan Schultz, Matty Keane and Alan Dawson to start cutting their way back through the field. Glenn McLeod will lead his first laps of the night. And Hayden Norris is going to use this as an opportunity to see if he can't get up alongside and have a crack. Running down into turn number 4. Oh, for the 35th time tonight, we'll come to the conclusion of just shy of the halfway mark. 3 more laps and we will be halfway. Very tight off of turn 4 there was Aidan Norris right up against the fence. Car not completely turning in the way that he wants at the moment, so tyre condition is paramount. Aidan Schultz, have a look at the Fishy Boys as well. They're all going to move out of the way as everyone tries to find their best line. Have a look at Matty Keane, tries to get a run to the outside here. And I think that was Blake Delaney had a big old blink at the front end of town. We had a few connection issues last night in the V8 Supercars, and we saw drivers that don't normally drop out did in a big way. Hayden Norris is getting quite racy now with Glenn McLeod for that lead. But keep your eyes on the mid-pack as Matty Keane now grabs the spot. He's looking for Christopher Tomlin, and have a look at Schultz trying to weave his way through the pack just up ahead of them as well. Keeney's going to shove it 3 wide, gets down the inside, gets up the middle of the Fishy Boys and Christopher Tomlin. It sorts itself back out at 2 wide, and Tomlin's still there in that high lane looking to the outside. Schultz has grabbed a whole bunch of spots. Keane has got to get by these guys. Who's the car to the outside there? Went very wide. Looking for a run, it was Nathan Allen. I don't think the car was stopping and turning in the way that he wanted. And now Matty Keane is just forced to sit here and watch. He'll shove the nose in 3 wide again because he's got the tyres to do so. Schultz has recovered back to P3. Now he's going to go setting sail after those leaders. Matty Keane will utilise the opportunity to maybe save a little bit of tyre. Delaney gets to the high side. Nathan Allen's grabbed a couple spots for himself and comes out clear of the Fishy Boys. And Keeney senses an opportunity. Gets to the inside. Christopher Tomlin, keep your eye on the gap between both them, him and Blake Delaney for your championship. Christopher Tomlin as well. Tomlin's right there and searching for it. And now Aidan Norris searching for the run on our leaders. And Aidan Schultz won't mind this. Although he'll be searching for a way on by, he will be sitting there and saving some tyres, saving some fuel, making this next pit stop as short as it possibly can be. He has only got one more set of tyres though, so he does not want to see another caution as they got very close there coming off the 2. Gets to the high side, gets the momentum, gets the job done. Now firmly sets the eyes on Glenn McLeod, and Norris will resurge on that shorter line down the inside. Still side by side. How good is Norris on the tyres? And Matty Keane still banked up in behind the fishy guys. Still trying to find his way by. Blake Delaney to his outside, cannot get clear. Slots in behind. Tomlin's going to try and get a run to the outside of Robbie Griffiths. His next car will be Jamie Dyke. There was clutching I just heard from Blake Delaney. So Delaney's trying to run this thing as long as he possibly can. Matty Keane still not getting through. Although this may be intentional from Keane. He might be going home on no more pit stops. And that would be the fastest way to do it. Which is why he's not pushing and shoving his way to the head here. And they're all just banking up in behind Blake Delaney. Yeah, it was Keane that I heard clutching. And the instant that Aidan Schultz hears that, he will be getting on that bike and getting out of there. Because he does not want to get beaten by the guy that doesn't have to stop. He's been pushing on. I'm wondering whether or not he can make it home as well. And where's Dawson gotten himself back to? Hasn't gone anywhere. So Alan Dawson might be fuel saving. Even more. So I would say that a lot of them, Dawson's got the fuel to get home. That's what it looks like looking out at Jared Steen. Which is Alan Dawson. So that's a lap truck directly ahead of him. So that is Dawson fuel saving. And Schultz has just got the pass done for the lead. Gets to the outside of Glenn McLeod. And will try and get that job done on the run down into 3 and 4. Starting to fuel save as well, I think. There's a huge group of them now. And Tomlin's at a resurgence. Keane, I think, is saving. Is what you're seeing now. Would have to go green flag for 30 more laps for these guys to get home. And a lot of that from Matty Keane is going to be run out on his own. And we'll check in with the Riot Sim Racing boys for more fun facts. Dave Nash, both Jacob Hughes and Matty Sculls share boat ramp duties 28 days each month. While Matty races, Jacob takes it head on at 3. Which is why we haven't seen the return of Jacob Hughes this time out. Does that mean that Matty Sculls is going to be taking on boat ramp duties next season? We will see the return of Jacob Hughes. I think we've just about got him. So Schultz has got control of the motor race, and he is not electing to just jump out and push massively out in front. Wonder how much tyre and fuel conservation is going on there. Pace, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is back to where it was right before pitting. So the pace of the race has come massively down. That's the view from the stands over down in turn 3 and 4. That's the entry to turn 3. And now they're off and out of turn 4 and onto the front stretch. Greg Leake has dropped off the tail end of the lead pack. So he's about half a lap away from going a lap down again. Everyone just sitting idly by and minding their P's and Q's. Fishy Motorsports boys will now line astern, and that is with Blake Delaney at the rear. So he's playing rear gunner to the team. I suppose if anyone's equipped to do well in the trucks, it's probably Jamie bus driver Dyke. And Robbie Griffiths will take the opportunity to lead the pack of the Fishy drivers. So top four have broken away. Nathan Allen's brought himself a ticket into that top grouping. Just about the fastest car on track that last lap by, and there's nothing in it up in the front pack. All running near identical times as Nathan Allen's tagged onto the rear bumper of them. That was Glenn McLeod running in the third slot. We'll see how they work themselves out. That's the view from Nathan Allen trying to hunt down Glenn McLeod. The benefit is he's got 3 trucks ahead of him punching that hole, so he should be the fastest of these 4 in a straight line. And he's just trying to keep up with them in the corners because he's got no downforce. Jump back to Alan Dawson, the third of the drivers to have elected to take a pit stop under that last caution. Whether or not he actually saved up a bank of tyres and came down for a fuel-only stop as well, because he was a fair way down the order, may have been the smart play for him, because then he's got the same number of tyres as everyone else, but more fuel if this does go green. And this pack really not pushing themselves forward. Tomlin just starting to shadow Blake Delaney a little bit. Whether or not he's saving and trying to get himself up for 4. Not going anywhere. This pack has just stalled itself out. Does actually look like the Fishy Boys was cycled who's leading the chain a few times as well. So they're all sort of cycling who's burning off the fuel. Robbie Griffiths led a few laps there, and now it's back to Jamie Dyke, and Blake Delaney is just happy to let the boys punch the hole for him. So, strategy chicken. We are now inside that last pit stop range to the end. Who is going to be the first driver to come down the pit lane, grab those tyres and go? Somebody will have a crack, and that will trigger the whole field coming down. Now look at Jamie Dyke checking the guys up in that top lane. Christopher Tomlin's trying to get a motor on, and he needs some support in that bottom lane. Just barely gets clear of Robbie Griffiths and slots himself in. That was cheeky from Tomlin, but he got it done. There was a perfectly sized and shaped Toyota Tundra slot there for him to slot into, and here they come. Darren Palmer might get pinged with speeding on pit lane. Matty Keane is the first of the guys to come back to pit lane. There's another caution. Matty's got no tyres left. Unless he also didn't take tyres. And Greg Leake's in the lane there as well. His final stop now done. Evan Horswell, unfortunately, has taken his car back to the garage, and that will be the last we see of him for season number 2 of the NASCAR Truck Series. Strategy chicken underway once more from Atlanta Motor Speedway. And now, Robbie Griffiths has run out a little bit of tyre, and a few guys will start to try and push on. Greg Leake will return to this pack. Glenn McLeod is pitting. And now it's Aidan Norris going as hard, Aidan Norris and Aidan Schultz trying to go as hard as they possibly can out in front. How long do you wait? One, two, three on the track. Nathan Allen has bought himself a really good ticket, and he is a mile clear of the rest of the pack. Does he think he can win a race here? That looks like Nathan Allen is indeed pitting. Aiden Norris will come to the lane as well. So Aiden Schultz now, the only driver from the lead pack not to pit, and a series of drivers in the second pack will start to come down pit lane. The final time this season that we will play Strategy Chicken. And a mix of strategies have come back out. Glenn McLeod is going to tag onto the rear end of that lead pack. I wonder if there wasn't a penalty there for Glenn McLeod. Now, he will get draft assistance for a few laps, which will make him a fair chunk faster. And Aiden Schultz comes to the lane as well. He cannot hang out there any longer and let the undercut take its control. Jared Steen's going to make his way in. Alan Dawson might be speeding on pit lane entry, was very close there. So the entirety of the lead pack have now pit. And it is Jamie Dyke that takes control of the race. So the Fishy cars once again extending their fuel mileage. There is now only 17 laps left. 16 laps. Yeah, 17 laps left in this race. 16 and a half. Kobe Jordans jumps in the chat and says, go get some chop. Talking to Chris Tomlinson. Christopher Tomlin, sorry, my apologies. A nickname appropriately given to him by the guys after he chopped his way into that lane. That was perfect. And respectfully driven for the guys around him as well. And look at Greg Leake having a crack here as well with the fresh rubber. Now, where has everyone resurfaced after their pit stops? Schultz is still coming out, and Matty Keane... No, sorry, Schultz is out. Schultz got clear, Schultz got well and truly clear. And had the quickest stop of the lot bar, Glenn McLeod. So Matty Keane's rolled the dice. It's not gone his way, but he will throw himself back up there and in the mix yet again. Now he's going to try and see if he can hold off a hard-charging Glenn McLeod, who's got 2 laps fresher tyres. Delaney and Dyke will pit. Robbie Griffiths will take the opportunity to lead a lap. No, he's in the lane as well. So everyone coming to the lane on different lap numbers, and I think that is indeed, that is the whole field now through the lane. With Robbie Griffiths pitting, that is our last round of green flag pit stops complete. And Hayden Norris will be your leader. He had a phenomenal stop, and he got it done 3 laps earlier than Aiden Schultz. Sorry, 1 lap earlier than Aiden Schultz, actually. My apologies. He's pulled a massive margin. So that's a phenomenal job there from Aiden Norris in getting into pit lane. Track temperature continues to climb as this server goes on too. An early morning race means that we're starting to get through the heat of the day now. 41 Celsius is the track temperature. Server started was more like 33, 34 Celsius. Matty Keane has Glenn McLeod immediately on his rear bumper now, so that one is going to be for effective 3rd place. And the Fishy Motorsports boys, well, they went long on their pit lane strategy. They will have the freshest rubber at the tail end here. But will they be able to make it work? And Keeney is still hanging on to that spot over Glenn McLeod. And Blake Delaney will get the job done now on Darren Parmenter. Nathan Allen is ahead of James Rice. He's in P5. Unfortunately for him, has dropped off the podium. Back, have a look at this battle pack. Is that Matty Keane getting a big old wiggle on? It was. And he will just... No, sorry, my apologies. That was Michael Locke. Who will just yield, get out of the way as a lap car. So Aiden Norris will continue to lead. And now 10 laps left to run. Start of lap 66. The margin back to Aiden Schultz is only 0.6 of a second. And Schultz is coming. Took 0.4 of a second out of him on that last lap. So we need some help. Christopher Tomlin's had a disastrous spot. Is just barely hanging on to being 1 lap off the lead. So Tomlin's championship hopes, without a caution, immediately are over. Speeding on pit lane, that looks like. Jared Steen is not doing as well either. He is also going a lap down. So it is the Delaney show. Delaney does not have to fight for any positions. It is signed, sealed, and delivered for Blake Delaney. He just has to drive the truck home cleanly. Something has to happen for anyone else to try and topple the mountain. Steen is right there and trying to cut his way through that pack as well. Oh! Schultz will grab the barrier. That's a huge misread on the front stretch. We'll get around Christopher Tomlin now. I wonder whether or not there wasn't something else in there. That's an odd one. That looks like, actually, that might be a frame drop. That would explain why he caught the barrier on the entry to turn 3 and 4 as well earlier in the night, is because he had 0 frames per second for a moment of time. Got stuck looking at a frozen screen whilst trying to turn into a corner. Something's going on there for sure, because that is not like Aiden Schultz. Now Nathan Allen's going to have a crack at getting himself back onto a podium. He is coming at Glenn McLeod. At a rate of knots too. He's getting that toe, getting that draft support. He will have 6 laps left to do something about it. Can Nathan Allen punch a ticket to a podium? He's closer. He's closed in again. He is much closer as Nathan Allen. So Glenn McLeod is getting close to slipping off the podium. A Velocity Sim Sports driver might have an out-and-out shot here. And Tomlin's there to offer some drafting support to McLeod late. McLeod's stuck to his guns in this middle lane. And Tomlin is struggling right in front of him. So he's going to have to get into an awkward lane to try and get this pass done. And Schultz is starting to drop off as well. So Hayden Norris has got control of the tail end of this race. So he will look to just keep it all tied down. Nathan Allen now gets checked up. So he will drop off the rear bumper now of Glenn McLeod. Finally gets the job done on Chris Tomlin. He's got 4 laps as Nathan Allen, and he's a fair way back. 0.4 of a second. He's lost time with the lap truck. Schultz is losing half a second a lap. If Glenn McLeod gets there, it will be at the exit of the last corner. Three laps left to run, and that margin just seems just too far gone. Nathan Allen did close up fractionally once again on that lap. But 3 laps left. Allen has to check up in the middle of the corner. Gets very high. Has to lift out, and that will seal that one for Glenn McLeod. Return to the podium at the tail end of the season. I think he opened his account at Charlotte, the Charlotte Oval in season number 1. The very first race of the season. Last season. But Allen's thrown everything he has at this one. Matty Keane looks like he's going to settle himself in and come away with P5 after all that strategy chicken. And Jamie Dyke is going to get down the inside of Jared Rice. Jared Rice has fought back well. James Rice, sorry, my apologies. James Rice. That's a phenomenal job from James Rice to finish off the season. White flag in the air, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. This is the final lap of the season. And the final time will go down to turn 3 and 4. Greg Leake kisses that apron as many times as he wants. That truck will whinge, whine, and complain. But one man that is not whinge, whining, and complaining is your Atlanta Motor Speedway winner. Hayden Norris will take that one away. Aiden Schultz will just barely get home by just over a second. Was ailing late on there to Glenn McLeod, and Nathan Allen had a damn big crack at Glenn McLeod and will finish with his best result of the NASCAR trucks so far in P4. Matty Keane will be disappointed with P5 after starting the race off on pole, but tyre dramas led to that one going away. And Jamie Rice, what a result. Any time you get to go toe-to-toe with Jamie Dyke and nearly get there, he will be happy with that one. But your season number 2 champion, ladies and gentlemen, will be Blake Delaney from Fishy Motorsports. You'll get to burn it down. And the boys will start to celebrate. There is going to be smoke all the way down this front stretch with 4 Fishy trucks involved. Matty Keane's getting involved in some circle work, some crop circles on the grass. Aiden Schultz will celebrate the end of a series with P2. Did catch up with Aiden during the week, and he said, yeah, I thought I would have had a crack. And just a few things didn't go my way. A little unforced error at the last as well from Aiden Schultz on a night where he might have had an opportunity to seal it with a win. But how about it from Blake Delaney? One engine's just gone boom on the front stretch. Is there 7 trucks currently doing donuts? I think there is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there was 7 trucks on the front stretch doing donuts. Nathan Allen. Again, his best result of the season as well. I think his engine's just gone kablooey. Jamie Dyke will finish his last race of the season in 6th position as well. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Grand final week comes to you and sets us off with a cracker. The pit lane strategy was super important. Who had it and who didn't tonight? Aiden Norris fought his way through and proves once again that qualifying isn't everything in the NASCAR Truck Series. Starts P9, come away with a win. Aiden Schultz will go from P6 on the grid to P2. Got very aggressive in the opening stanza of the race, grabbed a ton of track position and ran off with it. Glenn McLeod will move up 1 spot. But how about the finish from Nathan Allen? Starts 11th, moves up 7 spots to P4. Phenomenal drive from him. Matty Keane will be disappointed after starting on the pole to come away with a P5. Jamie Dyke qualified 3rd fastest, will finish in 6th, and another outstanding performance, like I said, from James Rice. This was phenomenal. P15 to P7. What a great finish from James Rice. Blake Delaney will finish at the tail end of the lead lap in 8th. Robert Griffiths just behind him, and Darren Palmer top 10, and that is your lead lap action. We'll throw it across to our podium celebrations, and we'll grab Glenn McLeod in here, who finishes on the podium. Glenn, it's been a fair while since we've seen you on the NASTRUCK podium. I think it was all the way back to round 1 of the first series, wasn't it?
No, actually, it was Kentucky. Kentucky was the last time I was on the podium. Yeah, so it's been a while between drinks. That's for sure.
Mate, so you seem to start these seasons off well, but it's the middle part that tricks you up.
Yeah, well, it's been more downs than ups for me this season. I had to miss a couple of rounds because of because of work commitments. But there, I still had a couple of DNFs there. Got to lead half a lap at Talladega, then a couple of laps last week at Bristol. So yeah, just got a bit unlucky, but it's still good fun.
And that's what it was all about. I think there at the end, the fact that we had three guys on the podium, one championship winner, and 4 other trucks that were just like, yeah, let's burn the rubber down. That is the perfect mark of the end of a season, and I think that sums up the culture of the league as well quite nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, this obviously been the second season. I've been doing this since its inception last season. Yeah, and it's just a good fun league to run on a Monday night. You know, obviously working on a Monday night or Monday, and having something to look forward to. Yeah, come around the truck series. So yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. I encourage anyone who's looking at or who's on the fence about it to jump in and have a go.
I was actually going to say, because we did see a few of your teammates start the season last season, and they went into work commitments and whatnot, unfortunately, on a Monday night, so they were unable to continue attending. Is there going to be a stronger resurgence in season number 3? You think there's going to be more teammates to line up side by side, perhaps more help at the super speedways?
Yeah, well, I think the other guys are just picking and choosing what they like to do, which is which is fair enough. I'm not sure if anyone has said anything yet. I don't think anything has been discussed about it, but I know there's. I've been talking to a few other drivers from a couple of other different teams who are definitely keen for next season. That's for sure.
Well, what about the rest of the boys that obviously take part in the road course stuff? I'm sure Corey McFarlane's got a truck sitting around somewhere.
Oh, he's quick in anything. I'm sure he'll be willing to give it a go. So I know he's on school holidays at the moment. So who knows? He might be in for round 1 next season.
All right, mate. And finally, we'll let you cap off the season number 2, 3rd place in the final race of the season. Glenn McLeod, driver the number 84, and the people who make it possible for Glenn are.
Big thank you to SRW, you boys as well. Scotty, for your awesome commentary. It's awesome to watch the race back and hear your expertise and opening Nathan's eyes to the world of oval racing, especially his NASCAR overtimes. I know he's quite fond of that. All the boys at Send It Sim Sports, all the sponsors on the cars, so PPF, Sydney Computers, ProServe Finance, Pixelbox. I'm sure there's a couple of others I've missed, but yeah, and a special thank you to my lovely girlfriend as well, who lets me do this every Monday night. I know she's in the other room at the moment watching the block, but she deserves a big shout out as well.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations. Go and say a big thank you to her for us, and see if you can book off another 10 weeks worth of Monday nights off.
Thanks, boys. Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn. Have a good one, mate. Glenn McLeod, driver of the 84 for Send It Sim Sports, finishes in P3 for the final race here tonight. We'll move on to the second step on the podium, and 2 weeks in a row he's made it back into the podium celebration. Zayden Schultz, driver the 52. I had high hopes there at a few points tonight, and what was the issue? Because that's an unforced error that we don't see from you a lot, and it happened twice in a race. So that says to me there's actually a technical issue going on.
No, mate. All on me, complacency.
Okay.
So, first one was me. I probably took it for granted with the 2 faster pairs. I didn't really panic after that one. That was just a stupid mistake, whatever. We reset and go again. Got back to the front and having a good run with Hato there, and I definitely had the pace, and I went on the outside through the tri-oval, but it was just stupid. Like, I was way quicker. He was well entitled to do what he did then, and it was a good block move without putting me in the wall, and that's pretty much night over. So that was on me, probably a little bit of patience, but it was a good night, all the rest, and good racing by all the drivers.
Honestly, the amount of high-level oval stars that I've actually seen clout that front wall at the Legacy layout at Atlanta, it's one of those walls that it just sneaks up on you sometimes.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And a bit like a Texas and a Charlotte as well. Like, you can get in your groove, and that little bit of aero wash, and you just need a driver to not play that friendly, and they're entitled, and it just drags you into that mistake. And that's the beauty of oval racing. Like, I would like to think I was pretty quick all night, and come home with second with I'm happy with, but that's how easy it is to make a mistake or something to go wrong. So yeah, man, oval racing I enjoyed tonight. It was good to be able to run good green flag runs and to be able to see tyre wear and all that. It was really enjoyable.
Well, I mean, when we talked last week after the conclusion of Bristol as well, I said, you know, it's a legacy layout of Atlanta. The eyes sort of lit up, you come alive a little bit, and you were looking forward to tonight and going, you know, this is just one of legacy Atlanta. It's one of those tracks where you've really got to blood yourself in, and for a few guys out there that haven't run this layout before, it is about that tire wear. It's about that grueling style of multi-lane racing and making important decisions that'll set up how you make an overtake 2 laps from now. Sometimes, you know, it's not, and looking after the tires. This is a quintessential cookie cutter oval.
Yeah, 100%. And it's about looking at where people are strong and weak. Obviously, the longer you run on that low line, it's going to hurt that right-hand front. But you also drive with your throttle a lot in these trucks when you're going the mid to high line, and you can sacrifice on entry and get 2 or 3 4/10ths on exit. So it's not only managing your own truck, it's managing the trucks around you, knowing where they're going, understanding where you are in the race. And that's what I love about the 1.5s, and especially the old Atlanta that we're on tonight, as opposed to the Super Speedway, because everyone will know how much I love Super Speedways. Yeah, love it, mate. Love how you can drive it differently, and we saw that tonight. You know, we saw a lot of changes. Hayden, who come up for the W tonight, and big congrats to him. You know, he was there or thereabouts all night, but he made that strategy call to undercut and get in front, and he held on, and that's a motor race, mate, and that was enjoyable.
How good was it to see 2 separate green flag pit stops here tonight? It was the first time that's happened all season. I think we've seen 1 in a couple of races, but to get 2 in one race, you know, it tests you as a driver. Not only are you looking after rubber, you're trying to adjust that brake bias a little bit so that you can come into pit lane, you can attack it a little bit more. Trucks that don't want to slow down, you've got to manage your shift points so you don't diff lock the rear and fire the truck in. There was a few guys that went in a little bit too hot tonight, but again, it's such a quintessential NASCAR skill that you don't get to test a lot in the official circuits.
Yeah, no, you don't. Sometimes you can, the officials, depending what split you get into, to be honest. But yeah, it's definitely an important factor. I practice that through practice every single time. So pit stops were a big factor. We saw a couple of guys. I think there was one, we had a green flag pit stop, and there was someone spinning in the pit lane, I think, in the background. So he might have locked up. But apart from that, I think it was all pretty good.
Yeah, I think that might have been Jared Steen that we saw at one point.
Yeah,
Either way,
I think it was, yeah.
I think the most important question, okay, there's 12 left in the NASCAR playoffs in the real life series. Who do you pick?
Mate, can I go 2? No, I can't go 2. Mate, if I've got to go someone, I've got to go Chase Elliott.
Oh, he's Mr. Popular, isn't he? He's the new Dale Jr.
Mate, he's just doing well. Him, Ryan Blaney. Did Blaney make it? I can't remember whether Blaney made it, but
Blaney did. Just.
Yeah, just. But yeah, Chase Elliott. Kyle Larson's been doing a good job as well. So I don't know. There's so many drivers, man. I don't know. Flick a coin. We'll see.
Well, that's the thing. Kyle Larson hasn't put a foot wrong, but he hasn't put a foot right lately either. Which is.
They just come off the back of Bristol, and you saw how hard the front tyre was on the Fords there. So that was interesting, and
yeah,
it's thrown up the chase. But don't know, mate. Flick it in the air. We move on. We watch. We see what happens.
Ladies and gentlemen, driver the number 52, Aiden Schultz, and the people who make it possible for Aiden are.
Of course, all the boys at Southern Stars Esports. Of course, Mrs. XL Garage, Guy Point, Tiona Holiday Parks, SRW putting on the good league. It was great. Broadcast is good. Be good to watch that. I've got to wish Pete Gretton a big happy birthday on the broadcast again, because apparently that's what we do. And it's your birthday again, Pete. Big happy birthday to you, and congratulations on Hayden on the win, Blake on the championship, and everyone involved in the league. Big congratulations, and look forward to next season.
Yeah, that's it, mate. We are looking forward to having you back for Southern Stars Esports. Aiden Schultz, driver of the 52, brings it home in P number 2 in the Ford F-150, mate. See you in a few weeks.
No worries. Take care, guys.
And finally, your winner from tonight here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Driver of the 20, man who keeps the boat ramp under strict supervision, Aiden Norris.
G'day, gents. How we going?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. First and foremost, Scalzi had a poor performance tonight. We were led to believe he's had some long shifts down there.
Oh, you're not wrong, mate. He's always down there. He's down there more than he sim races.
Maybe you should just set the sim rig up down there.
100%, I agree.
Then we might get Jacob Hughes running every now and again too.
No, then Jacob would be upset that Scalzi doesn't have a cats with him, though.
Mate, how much lore and banter goes on behind the scenes at Riot Sim Racing? Because it's turned into a little bit like the Fishy Boys. You know, there's always somebody come to the chat to spin us another tale about what's going on. But that's then again, that's the culture of SRW. I don't think we know any true facts about any of the drivers, but we know a lot of really good fibbies.
Oh, mate, you don't even want to know. No, it's good with this bunch of boys. As I said, I love a bit of banter, and I didn't expect that coming to the team, to be honest. But yeah, honestly, it's the best thing. It's fucking hilarious.
Mate, talk to us about the call to pit those few laps early there tonight, because that was so crucial. You had to do something different if you followed the pack in. You know, it's so difficult to pit from within a pack, and not only to do it once, but to have to do it twice tonight. We talked to Aiden about that a little bit. But then, you know, you've got to make that call of when you come to pit lane and how strong the fresher tyres are. It was 2.5 seconds was the tyre fall off over the run. So it's got to be a confirmed, a decisive call, and you've got to make it stick.
Literally didn't even have a strategy. I bought this track 5 minutes before qualifying. Jumped straight in, did laps, and just in the pit stops during the race, just ran the tank dry, got some tyres, and just sent it, really.
So it was all about the Riot Sim boys going on a little bit of a riot and not really knowing what the go was, but that sometimes works out. That's okay. Another strong season, another strong showing for a few of you guys. We got towards the championship race at the end of last season. You were right there and you were in the hunt. It's not been the season that I think a lot of your guys would have wanted. There's been flashes in the pan, but they've just been that in terms of putting together a season. More trucks this season, more wiggling about throughout the packs. But towards the tail end, we did start to see those green flag runs again. So, eyes forward to next season. Thoughts of taking potentially your first title or at least taking it to the last couple of races in season number 3?
Oh, I'd love to. You know, you're not wrong about all the extra cars this season. There's a ridiculous amount of cars this season, and some awesome talent in the field. And yeah, it was very, very tricky to be at the front this season. But honestly, I'm just glad to get I'll get a win and or even be at the front in general. You know, with this group, it's just crazy.
In terms of things, I think it's been quite critical to watch you guys go to work, because you guys, as a team, you sit down, you nut the track out, and you learn something racing off of each other, and that's what the league's all about as well. You know, was oval racing something that you guys were looking at and participating in regularly prior to running within this SRW truck season, and what's changed?
Well, I know Scalzi was doing it a little bit here and there, and then he was telling us about it. I'm like, oh, I'll give it a crack. And honestly, just for shits and gigs, really, we'd go and jump in the pickup cup, you know, the old legacy Silverados, and just go run amok in there for a bit and have a good laugh. But yeah, we think that's awesome fun. And then Scalzi found this series, and so we jumped in here, and it's just for fun, basically. I'm more focused with the circuit racing personally, but yeah, honestly, it's a load of fun. Brilliant.
Well, honestly, Aiden, it's been phenomenal watching you guys go from strength to strength and continue the improving, and it is improving each and every week, figuring the trucks out, figuring new layouts out, mate. So congratulations to yourself, congratulations to the Riot Sim Racing boys. Now is your opportunity to tell us who makes it possible for Riot Sim Racing.
I'd just like to thank Capital Custom Works, FU Suicide, and Bliss Homes.
Thank you very much, Aiden. Pleasure seeing you out there on the track yet again, and a big shout out to you on the team family back there in the Riot Sim Racing chat.
Awesome. Thanks, James. Appreciate it.
Have a great one, Aiden. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Aiden Norris driving the number 20. Went from competing for a championship last season. Didn't go all his way this season, but still manages to bookend the season quite nicely with the win. Now, it is time to talk to our brand new driver of the number 1 car, potentially, for next season. Blake, congratulations, mate, first and foremost. And a number 08. I think that number is going to get 1 digit shorter, and the digits aren't going to look the same next season.
No, mate. Humble winner. It'll stay with the 08.
108, perhaps?
No, no, just the 08.
Mate, tricky night here from Atlanta. It was about pit lane strategy. Did I hear you guys clutching and saving a little bit there as well? I heard somebody in that pack having a crack.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. All right, my ears deceive me.
No, of course we were. Yeah, just trying to save a bit of fuel. I don't think we had enough for the boys up front in this one. Would have been good if we, if it missed that yellow flag towards the end. Would have been interesting on fuel, but yeah, no, we definitely didn't. I definitely didn't have the pace for the boys at the front. I just had a crack at fuel saving to see if we could get it done with 2 stops. And you saw that the 3 at the front ended up taking that extra one under yellow, or Schultz did anyway. So credit to him. Those boys smashed it tonight. They were too good.
It's been an interesting season. Obviously, Pete Morris has cracked the whip a few times and got you boys all into shape, and it's working. So there's been a gang of fishy motorsports cars in just about everything SRW. It's now transitioned across to the NASCAR Truck Series. What I really want to know is, when is a fishy motorsports car going to be entering the Formula 3s, the TCRs, and the Radicals? Because Adam Simpson looks really lonely in all the high downforce stuff.
Yeah, well, Simo's quick in that stuff, but it's actually Poiter Morris if we're driving a NASCAR truck. So we've got to make sure it's Poiter Morris, not Peter Morris. He likes to be called Pierre when he's driving something with a little bit more finesse, but in the big truck, it's Poiter. But no, he did crack the whip at the start of the year and said, "You boys need to get in here," and we did, and we had a bit of fun. Maybe the F3s next season for sure. Might be a bit of fun. We actually did sign up for that at the start of this year, but decided not to run it because there's obviously too many nights on the sim. But yeah, no, that'll be a bit of fun. I do enjoy a high downforce car for sure.
Mate, Jamie's given us all the lowdown. Apparently, it's the GT3s is the next thing you guys are all lining up for.
GT3s, are we? Okay. Not 100% sure, but yeah, maybe we will. I think Jamie is on the on the broadcast at the moment. I think I did actually neglect to mention before I go into anything else, but Pete Gretton, I think it's his birthday today, so big shout out to Pete for birthday there, mate. So happy birthday, buddy.
Happy 371st birthday, Pete.
Yep, yeah, the LR Esports legend. It is his birthday for sure tonight.
Yeah, and that one said Peter Gretton, not Poiter Gretton.
Yeah, that said Peter, yeah, for sure.
Mate, interesting season right the way through. I think when you look up and down the field and you take a look at points and you take a look at how everything sorted itself out, 3 wins for yourself, and I think that win last week at Bristol was quite crucial coming in here, because if you're 2 or 3 spots further back, all of a sudden it just adds an extra little bit of pressure to the final race of the season. You've got to be that little bit more aggressive that you don't necessarily want to be. So it was nice to sort of relax a little bit, settle into tonight's action, and get yourself underway.
Yeah, it was for sure. I mean, I think at the start of the year we got an early win, and then it was really tough to get everything going because we had a couple of stacks, which sent me down the list. But no, it was a great year, awesome fun, and it was good to pick up a couple of wins along the way. Good to see Dykey and Coleman and Griffo running around as well to try and match it with Poiter. Poiter's obviously done really well in this series over a few seasons. So yeah, it's good fun to join the boys. But I will say one thing though, we were an hour before the race. I jumped onto the calendar and had a look at Atlanta Road 2008, and we ended up running an oval. So it threw us a little bit at the start of the race.
That's been the banter back and forth, ladies and gentlemen. They were all lining up, and there was a few guys out there that were practicing Road Atlanta in the trucks, and that's a tricky, tough technical domination of a road circuit. Anyway, we've settled ourselves in and sorted that one all out. Honestly, if anyone out there is thinking about getting involved in oval racing, it is a completely different, shall we say, kettle of fish.
Oh, there you go. Good play on words, that one. Yeah, love it. But you should get into it for sure. It's hard at first. You saw a bit of the wheel as you go around some of the corners. You end up going back and forward on the wheel, but you start to figure out that dropping from the high line to the low line to the middle line and running different lines, saving tyres, saving fuel. It's all a decent game on the oval.
Yeah, it's not just about going as fast as you can for as long as you can and hoping that it all sticks. You've actually got to work out where the lanes are, work out when to draft and when to get by someone, when to save fuel and when to press on. So there is a lot going on there, mate. And finally, for the final time this season, Blake Delaney, driver of the 08. The Fishy Motorsports sponsors are...
Yep, the Fishy Motorsport sponsors are West End Motor Group, Parramatta Peugeot Professional, Parramatta City Great Wall, West End Mazda Parramatta, Parramatta Isuzu Ute, DC Shades, Relax Marine and Game Fishing, Infinity Designs, and Adrenaline Images, and the man who normally puts all of the setups together, although it was a fixed setup tonight, is Precision Sim Training's Josh Thomas. And just a big shout out, thanks very much to the Fishy boys. There is 14 of them in Discord at the moment, and I can tell you that there is no better place that you'd want to be throwing a bit of mud, and definitely you need a bit of thick skin. And it is just, we run around every single track most nights with a massive smile on our face, because it is just banter going on the whole time with a hell of a lot of fun. So thanks to the boys. Massive shout out to the boys that raced tonight as well, Darky, Griffo, and Big Pete Morris and Coleman earlier in the year.
And most importantly, when's that 13-year-old son of yours getting into an oval race?
He's on.
Young.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's on school holidays at the moment, so he's doing a lot of officials. He said he's going to do 4 tomorrow. He told me earlier, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. So the better he gets, obviously, the more he'll do. So he's running around in a supercar at the moment. He's starting to get a little bit quicker. He ran around last night around Motegi, and he was only a couple of seconds off the front guys. So it's better than maybe 6 or 7 weeks ago. He was 5 or 6 seconds off the pace, but he's really starting to get a little bit better in the sim, and we'll get him onto the oval soon.
Congratulations, Blake. It's been a pleasure going on with you guys, and I'm wondering at what point does the Sim Racing World logo show up in those trucks, because the amount of times that you guys get in here, you guys get free coverage, I think, by the end of this.
Well, we really appreciate it. We love everything that you boys do. Shibby and Scotty, we enjoy listening to the broadcast afterwards. You guys are really cool to listen to. You get all animated. We love that. Everyone gets a bit of a smile on their face when you guys start to get a bit animated. So it's good stuff. Great work all season, and looking forward to the next.
All right, mate. Congratulations. Your season number 2 champion, Blake Delaney, driver of the 08 for Fishy Motorsports. Congratulations, Blake.
On your boys. Chat to you soon.
See you, mate. Well, that is that. Another season in the books. There's been green-white checkers finishes. There's been NASCAR overtime. Strategy chicken came out in force here tonight. Bump drafting. Cars flying everywhere. The best part about NASCARs is that it all happens, and if you want to see it all happen yet again, 2 weeks off, and then we go back racing. There is another 10-week series coming your way in terms of the NASCAR Truck Series, and action-packed. Stack them up, get them set, and let them loose is the way we go. We will be returning to the same format you have seen. 8 oval races, 1 road course, 1 dirt oval action, and if you want to go anything left-hand turning, Sim Racing World is your place to go on a Monday night. Nathan Chippy Howard has been behind the scenes. Unfortunately, you have not heard his lovely new microphoned up dulcet tones. It's been lonely here in the booth without Chippy, so we hope that you get and you are feeling better so you can participate in your beloved Dirt Sprint Cars tomorrow night, which is a perfect reminder of if you think it's over with, no, it's not. We crown ourselves our first ever Sim Racing World Dirt Oval Winged Sprint 360 champion tomorrow night. Who is it going to be? All of that action to get underway nice and early on in your Tuesday evening. Wednesday night will be the return of the TCRs and the Formula 3's. TCRs heading to Suzuka for what is going to be an absolute tyre burner. On Thursday night, your Radicals will come to you live from the mountain, where just about everyone in iRacing went V8 Supercar racing over the weekend at some point. And then following up will be the Porsche Cup cars, also from Suzuka, and then that will be the second last race of the season, because we will sign off with the V8 Supercars from Suzuka on your Sunday night. Big shout out to all the sponsors that always make it possible here at the Sim Racing World chat channels. DSL Welding Services NASCAR Trucks Championship round has now been run and won. Proudly brought to you also by Warren and Brown. Dragon RC, Pagnian Imports / simulations for your next level racing hardware. Melville Equipment Corporation and Toyo Sim. That's the sponsors that make it all perfectly possible on your Monday nights. Join us again in 3 weeks' time when we go NASCAR racing once again. If you're interested in getting involved, all the information is on your screen. www.simracingworld.com.au. We saw 40 plus different trucks take to the track on a Monday night throughout the season. Will you be on the grid for season number 3 of the NASTRUCKS series? I think it's season 4, season 5 overall in terms of Sim Racing World. If you're interested in anything that we have to offer right the way through, including what we're just talking about with Blake Delaney there and Jamie Dyke as well, GT3s and GT4s will join the roster from Sim Racing World on your Friday nights coming up. Multi-class action, the first time that we will have a Sim Racing World dedicated multi-class series. So if you want to get involved, now is the time. Everyone is excited to be a Sim Racing World driver. My name is Scotty Rattlegun Rankin. This is it from your NASTRUCKS series. We've crowned our champion. Nathan Shimmy Howard was behind the scenes and unfortunately unable to join me, but signing off on your Monday nights. We'll see you again tomorrow for the second installation of Championship Week, and we'll see you then.